Okay, so guys, welcome and thanks for joining us today. On today's show, we have Rob. Now, before we go into the obviously exciting and interesting subject of kind of like hypnosis, hypnotherapy, Rob, can you kind of tell our audience a little bit about yourself, like a little bit about your background? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my story, my journey, and a little bit about hypnotherapy as well. So yeah, I'm Rob. I'm 24 years old. I'm a professional hypnotherapist, and I've been practicing for around a year now. And literally, hypnotherapy wasn't something that I ever sort of expected. It just came to me randomly. And I'm a big believer, I'm quite spiritual, I'm a big believer in everything happening for a reason. And you know, I've taken to it like a duck to water, and it's set me on this new career, this new path, this new journey of discovery, really. So a little bit about sort of my background and how all of this came about. So about 4.5, 5 years ago, I was in a relationship that didn't really serve me, didn't serve the other person as well, to be honest. And I was basing how I felt constantly on my environment. So if things was good, oh, I felt great, I felt amazing. If things was going bad, then damn sure I felt bad. And I was in sort of this negative rut, this negative loop. And when I say negative, I don't just mean negativity as a mindset, but everything else that came with that. So anger, frustration, anxiety, and this relationship was going on, and realistically, it wasn't right. So I began to Google, you know, why am I feeling angry all the time? Why am I getting frustrated at these silly, just trivial things? And why do I have anxiety? First thing that came up was look within, look at meditation, 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 some hypnotherapy as well. So meditation wasn't anything new to me, but I'd never actually practiced it myself. So I began to practice meditation. I started with guided meditations on YouTube, and I began to really look within, really look at, okay, how am I feeling and why am I feeling like that? Looking at thoughts that are just coming into my mind instead of just patching them over with, you know, going out for a walk or whatever it may be, something external to distract me, either watching a film or even grabbing a drink of beer, whatever it may have been. I really started to look within. Now that's where my life changed. It gave me the strength really to depart from that part of my life. And I did, and it was a really good decision for not only me but the other person as well. And I came home from that relationship and I had a lot of talks with my mum. And again, that just sort of opened up this whole new world. How every hour that I spoke with my mum about my situation, where am I gonna go? Every hour was like, it was like medicine. It was helping me heal. It was helping me get out of this rut that I was in. And again, that just sort of just opened up so much for me. So I've always worked in jobs that were helping people, so particularly in the financial sector, so debt advice and helping vulnerable people in that sense. So I've always had this passion. It sounds quite cliche that, you know, we all want to help these people, we all want to help others, but this journey that I'd already been on in that short space of time, around 6 months of coming out of a relationship and speaking with my mum, really sort of cemented my passion really, which was, well, if my mum can help me feel a certain way just through talking, then I can do that with other people. So my partner now, she said, oh, you know, the way that you speak and the way that you are, you'd be a really good counsellor. So I was like, I can't believe I've never thought of that. You know, I've been a debt counsellor, but why have I never thought of going down this route? So I applied to start studying psychotherapy and counselling. And what came with that, the first year of that was hypnotherapy, which I didn't expect at all. But I'm so glad it came up because it's offered me so much knowledge. It's offered me so much support in being able to spread what I want to spread, this empowerment that we all have within ourselves to feel how we truly want to feel. So yeah, hypnotherapy sort of came just out of nowhere, really. And that's sort of where I'm at today. So literally from me starting meditation to me now telling people on a daily basis, you need to meditate, you need to meditate. It's crucial for you understanding how you truly feel. So yeah, that's just sort of a snapshot of my journey over the last 5 years.
Thank you for sharing that, because like it's really inspirational, and a lot of people will really relate to it, because you know, sometimes people come on the show and, you know, they've been through like really rough times, and they share all those like real massive struggles. And actually, I'm not saying obviously you haven't experienced, you know, your own personal struggles, of course you have, but it's very real, and a lot of people can relate to you. They're in jobs that they're kind of going home, you know, at the end of the day, not really listening to how they feel. They might be in relationships that they're not fully fulfilled in. So I think they're really going to resonate with exactly like your story. So really appreciate you sharing that with us. Could you just explain to us, like, what is hypnotherapy? So for anybody who's listening that doesn't know, because, and honestly, like before I became qualified in hypnosis, I was one of the classic people, and for sure I know John was too, is like the only time we'd seen hypnosis really is like on a stage show somewhere, and there is obviously a lot of fun that you can have with hypnosis, but it's so powerful in so many other ways. So can you just explain obviously your take on that, and also like what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you say hypnosis and people think it's this voodoo, it's this magic, it's this stage performance, and absolutely it is. And people like Derren Brown, who is absolutely amazing, by the way, I'm not taking anything away from him. I absolutely love the way that he speaks. And if you listen to the way that he speaks, he basically confirms it's all about conformity, it's all about suggestibility, which is completely true, and that's in the sense of how I work with my clients as well. So I'll speak a little bit about the stage performance. So like I say, it's to do with suggestibility, it's to do with conformity. So let's use Derren Brown as an example. So people go to his shows. First of all, they want to be hypnotized. They want to be involved with that. So they're in the audience, and what Derren Brown will do is he will do a test, and he will say, for example, everybody stand up, and he'll go through sort of a process, and if it didn't work on the people, or on some people, he'll say, oh, sit down. So then people will sit down, but the ones that had stood up, he would do another test with them, and basically would whittle it down. And that's the suggestibility aspect of it. How suggestible are these people to these tests that I'm doing? So say he whittles it down to 10 people. 10 people come up on stage. Then what comes into play then is conformity. So so Derren Brown says, okay, sleep, and clicks his finger. So this person stood in front of 1,500, 15,000 people. They're on TV, there's cameras, lights, everything. More than likely they're going to sleep. They don't want to be the odd one out. They don't want to look silly. They don't want to say no to a person that they've gone to see, Derren Brown, who in some aspects is an authoritative figure. So there's two elements there. There's conformity and suggestibility. So that's sort of how, in a brief snapshot of how that stage performance works. And he even says that he'll speak to the people after, and some of them will say that, yeah, I just went along with it. Some of them didn't know what happened, and some of them said, yeah, that absolutely worked. Now, it goes to show that it's all in that person's mindset. How much do you want this to work? So this is what I say to my clients all the time. How much do you want this to work? If you're coming to see me and you only 5 out of 10 want to stop smoking, it's not going to work. However, if you 10 out of 10 want to stop smoking, 100% that's going to work. So with my practice, what hypnotherapy really is, it's all to do with the subconscious mind. So we live our life 95% from our subconscious mind, which is absolutely crazy. So we drive subconsciously. Our morals are from the subconscious, our belief system, it's all subconscious. Now, hypnotherapy sets to understand the subconscious, rewrite programs that we've written over the years, bad habits, really ingrained emotional states, depression, anxiety, stress, confidence issues, self-esteem issues. They are all born from a period of time that we've conditioned ourselves to believe that that's right, that's okay. And at one point that may have served us. So being shy in some aspects may have served us at some point. But in our adult life, is it stopping you going for that job? Is it stopping you going to talk to that person at the bar? Of course, not really in these times today, but yeah, so my practice is really sort of to set, and hypnotherapy is to set people to understand where things have stemmed from and how can we rewrite those processes, those programs, in order to benefit them today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I like the way you've kind of split it as you answered that question for us, because sometimes, and something that I've definitely experienced, is people are really sometimes a bit afraid of hypnosis because of what they've seen in stage shows and things like that. So when you start to understand in the way that you just described it, that actually, no, if they want it, then they will have it. They can never do something they don't want to do when they're in a hypnotic state, can they?
No, absolutely not. That's something that we as therapists have to tell clients, is that you have complete control. If you want to move, if you want to itch, if you want to open your eyes, whatever it may be, you have control of that. However, if you let yourself go deep, if you let yourself really relax and use my voice as guidance, you're going to get the best results, the optimal results out of this. Because we want to get, when I say we, I'm talking about therapists, but we want to get clients to a stage where their subconscious mind is open, and we reside on 4 different brainwave cycles, which are beta, alpha, theta, and delta. I'm sure you're aware of this. And theta is where the subconscious mind is open. So this is where, how I describe it to clients is that you're not going to need to see me forever. I'm giving you the tools, I'm giving you the techniques that you can go away from these sessions and use yourself with self-hypnosis, through meditation, through affirmations, through constantly watching the thoughts that come in.
Nice.
And yeah, like, it's with hypnosis, it's extremely kind of interesting, because a lot of people I know, especially my own family as well, when you kind of mention hypnosis, the first thing, like we said, that comes up is in Vegas.
So John's family think that I hypnotized him. Like, it's funny because I don't know how much you know his backstory, but he wasn't always this chilled. He was kind of like the Hulk in many ways.
Very angry, very stressed.
Obviously, I then come and met the family, and they were like, "What did you do to him?" It's like, I didn't do anything, I swear. But because they'd heard that I could do hypnosis, they were like, "What did you do?" And it's like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, they think it's like witchcraft. And I think with, obviously, when people start to hear more normal, like real stories of people who've gone through, well, whatever normal is for them, but gone through real hypnosis to help them get the results they're looking for, that's when I think they start to then change their perception of what actually like hypnosis is. It's not like swing a watch in front of someone's eyes and make them cluck like a chicken. It's like, if you really want that help, whether it is obviously like getting rid of, eliminating stress or anxiety, or getting kind of bringing something into fruition in your life, then it can definitely help. And the more, I think, normal stories people hear about people's experience with hypnosis, the more likely they are to then seek it out and obviously try it out as well, with a more resourceful mindset. So it'd be interesting to know, kind of in your experience, is like, do you have any examples of how people have improved, say, for example, their health through using hypnosis?
Health specific, when I see people for weight loss, so straight away that's all about the health. If we're talking of health in a physical aspect, so people that I see for weight loss, one particular example that I'll give is I went through a script with a client, all about going down a supermarket aisle, and that aisle was filled with sweet stuff, and the smell from the sweet stuff, so sickly, so sweet, was making them nauseous. And they moved into the next aisle. It was full of greasy, fatty foods, which was making them feel nauseous again, really sickly. And then they moved into an aisle which was vibrant, full of fresh fruit and veg, and you could see the people in there were slim, moving elegantly, and they looked better, they looked healthier. And that script really changed this one person's sort of idea of food. So this client, she went shopping afterwards, and she sent me a photo of her her trolley, and it was full of fresh fruit, veg. It was green basically, which was amazing for me to see. She'd come from not eating any veg or not liking them, just liking sort of sweet corn and things like that. Anyway, she tells me now she absolutely loves broccoli, and this has, of course, changed her whole outlook on food, which in turn is helping her sort of physically, it's helping her mentally. She's losing weight, she's feeling better, she's not got a bad back, things like that. So you can see just by some small change in cognitive patterns, how we look at food. Am I viewing that food, that certain type of food, as pain? Our brains naturally will take us away from pain towards pleasure. So if we're attaching pain to broccoli, for example, that's what we're going to experience, and we're going to want to move away from that as much as possible. So yeah, in that case, and I find that a lot with weight loss clients, that as soon as they get a different grasp on their thinking, so it's all to do with psychoeducation as well. It isn't just those subconscious programs, it's educating them on the mind, on how they think, really. Yeah, in turn massively helps them mentally and then physically as well.
Awesome.
I love that you combine both the psychotherapy and the psychoeducation with the hypnosis, because I've had clients come to me after they've had hypnosis and that they love hypnosis. They feel amazing after it, but sometimes they feel it doesn't always stick. And for sure, sometimes it does. I'm obviously just sharing some client experiences of mine. And this has been really interesting because those tools, they haven't actually been conscious of them. So sometimes people come out of a hypnosis session and they've created these changes, but they don't really know why. And it's almost like they think their subconscious is playing tricks on them, and it's like it's now keeping a secret from them, but they don't consciously know how they did it. So now that kind of chips away at the talk, like the self-talk that's going on. So the fact that you're combining it is really, really powerful. What would you say is like the one thing that you wish that everybody could sort of understand about themselves?
Very broad question, very big question. So I truly believe that we all have I'll use the word capability of being able to understand the sort of true divine power that we have as human beings. Whether that capability transfers to ability is something that I want to teach people through the practice that I do. So yeah, in terms of your question, it would be for people to understand that they have this ability to be able to change their thought processes. They have the ability to look within, which is then going to help how they see their environment. So it's very easy to get involved in a negative loop, a negative thought process. So, for example, people who work in offices, they have a stressful day, they come home, they relax, grab a glass of wine, a beer, they go to bed, oh, nice and chilled, and they wake up and they think, I wonder if today is going to be as stressful as yesterday. They go in and it's stressful, they have a stressful day, and then they come home, repeat, rinse and repeat, and then before they know it, they're going to wake up with anxiety and stress before they've even left the bed, with this idea of, oh, I've got work today. So I use work as an example because it's so relatable. But for a minute, if we take a step back and look, okay, well, how am I feeling right now? okay, I'm not feeling stressed. I'm at home, I'm chilled, I'm about to have tea, I feel great. Focusing on ourselves, then waking up the next day, I still feel great. Okay, stress might be coming my way, but I feel great right now, and I've got the capability and the ability to be able to deal with the stress. I feel like I've gone off on an absolute tangent there, but it is all about just bringing that attention back to ourselves to understand, okay, how am I feeling right now? What is going on? What are the thoughts? Because we have this innate feeling of always being right. There's the confirmation bias. So if we go into any situation, today is going to be stressful. Best believe it's going to be stressful because the brain wants us to survive. So it's going to confirm that we're right in order to do that. So that person's annoying me, or that process is not good, or yeah, I'm sick of my manager, or whatever it may be, instead of it being the other way around.
Nice. I love that answer, because like that's something that we talk about all the time. So I think I always say this when we have guests on, but the people listening, you're hearing this from other people too. It's not just the bandwagon that we're on, like, because we've seen so many lives change with it, like yours including the people you help as well. So I love that. We're so aligned with it, and I think the more people hear it from different people with different backgrounds and experiences, they'll be able to actually start to try these things and test the waters with it. Go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, like, is there anything you would say to somebody that's like brand new, somebody that is really relating to what you're saying? They're waking up, they're in this negative cycle, they're going to work, they're just going home, grabbing a beer or a glass of wine and rinsing and repeating, like you said. What would you say to them is the first thing to start doing to change that?
Step out of that situation, step out of that external reality and begin to look within. So that sounds very broad in itself. So what I mean by that is being still, focusing on your breathing, and just watching those thoughts that come into your mind. So whether they're previous memories that are affecting your stress levels right now, or whether they're just a feeling of, I am feeling stressed and I am feeling anxious. Okay, well, how do I begin to deal with that? Now, once we actually know how we feel, rather than basing it on our external reality, once we know how we feel, then we can begin to understand that. And again, once we understand that, then we can set to change that. Now, the way that I like to see life is it's a game, and we have the ability to trial and error things, like to trial things, to fail at things. And when we do that, we begin to learn what's right for us. We're all absolutely different. We're so unique and individual. So what works for me may not work for yourself, Charlotte, or for you, John, or somebody who's listening who can relate to this. So it's all about finding what's right for you. So I would say the first thing that somebody should do is begin to look within, look into meditation. There's 6 main types of meditation. Choose which one suits you. Try it. If it doesn't work, move on, try something else. You've got the ability to be able to do that. And once you begin to actually to do this, it becomes fun. It becomes, right, okay, well, how do I want to feel today? What can I visualize? What can I try and align my universe with? Can I use the law of attraction? Can I transcend to a different realm, whatever it may be? What's going to suit me today to help me live better, live more effectively, and live more beneficial?
Nice. That's so true. Like, it's something that we obviously advocate all the time, that everyone is an individual. Like, there's no such thing as one size fits all. You've got to find what works for you, and that will take a process of trial and error. See what works. If it doesn't work, move on to the next thing, and eventually you'll start finding that process that is going to work for you. And then once it does, you'll know when it works, because you'll get outstanding results and quite quickly as well, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you said there, like just stepping out and actually becoming the observer and being still with yourself, is the place to start. I think it's the only place to start, really. And you mentioned there is like, pick kind of what works for you, whether it's like guided meditation or a different form of meditation, it doesn't matter. But asking yourself then the questions that you mentioned about how can I be more effective today, that's sometimes where I think there's a bit of a blind spot and people miss that step. I think a lot of people, they find, okay, I need to do this morning routine now because morning routines are a thing, and they kind of go through the motions and they're like, okay, I'm gonna, I don't know, breathe, or I'm gonna meditate, or I'm gonna go for a walk, but they don't have that dialogue and that self-talk and that element of reflection in play. And I think that can sometimes set people up almost for a little bit of failure in some aspects, even though they're starting in the right place. What would you say to anybody that might be experiencing that at the moment?
I think you sort of covered it there, Charlotte, to be honest, is just trying to watch what comes in. So Socratic questioning the ideas, the beliefs that come in. So for example, you see somebody drive by in a really nice car, they're a young person. Straight away, someone may think, oh, I bet mum and dad have given them that, or I bet that's a higher car, completely detracting away from the fact that this person may be a successful business owner, that person may have bought that car outright, and it just beginning to question, sort of, I'm using this as sort of a really loose example, but okay, well, do I know that that person has got that car given to them? No. Right, okay, well, could that person have actually earned that? Yeah. So beginning to just question instant belief systems then sets us on to sort of understand how we truly feel. Okay, well, do I actually need to be thinking about this person and having such a negative outlook? Could I actually think that, wow, that person has earned that car, they've probably worked their ass off since 16 years old with a business, and now they've got that car, that dream car, that's probably their goal. I wish them all the abundance, I wish them all the happiness. And then that comes back to us, that happiness, that abundance. If we start to see things like that, that's going to come back to us. So it's very easy to meditate on the wrong things. So you sort of touched on it there with sort of setting yourself up for failure. So meditating on, I don't want to feel stress. Yep. Meditating on, I don't want to feel anxious. And that's where the energy is. It's anxiety, it's stress. Rather than flipping that on its head and just thinking about, okay, I am confident, using gratitude with our thoughts, conditioning our mind to believe that we already have these things. So I am so grateful now that I am so grateful and happy now that I am confident, conditioning ourselves constantly and watching the thoughts that come in. Okay, is this a negative thought? Is this serving me right now? Okay, if it's not, if this isn't aligning with where I want to be, let me change that. Let me create a new habit loop for myself and set a different trajectory for myself.
Nice.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So Rob, I'm going to ask you, there's a question we ask every guest that comes on the show. So basically, over the last 5 years of your life, like, what kind of new belief or behavior or habit has really made the biggest impact on your life?
I think I've kept sort of touching on it, which is just bringing everything back to myself. Meditation, that was a huge thing for me. So I meditate daily, and whatever it may be, I'm visualizing what I want the next week to look like, the next year, the next 5 years. Am I just trying to understand how I'm feeling in a moment, whatever it may be? That's helped me massively. Ultimately, it's helped me focus. So this is something that my partner's always said, that I'm always here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And I'm spreading myself, I used to spread myself too thin. So meditation's helped me become laser focused, and it's helped me become laser focused on this practice, hypnotherapy. And you probably can see, like, from my videos on Instagram, how passionate I am about this topic. And it's helped me even further. It's helped me look into that more, and just really understanding when there's times where I catch myself in a moment and I'm like, and I'll say to my partner, oh, why am I acting like that? What's going on? It's almost like the old me is just creeping in, and it's coming into that sort of that old life, really. But now I'm able to catch myself in these moments, and I think, okay, well, that's not me. That's not where I want to be right now. That behaviour, it's not serving me right now. So instantly I can switch that, because I understand that that's not for me. And this is all genuinely from meditation. It's allowing myself to look within, notice and recognize behaviors, thought processes that I don't want to experience. And if I do experience them, catching them in the moment and being able to shift them, shift the energy, shift whatever I'm doing.
Nice. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to that as well, and that need of focus as well, because there's so much distraction in and around everybody at the moment, and I think that's something that will be really, really powerful. I've got a feeling there might be some listeners thinking, well, okay, well, what's the difference then between meditation and hypnosis?
Okay, so meditation is it's all to do with just being still, watching what's happening, feeling what you're feeling. Hypnotherapy works on that subconscious level. So we're actually delving deep into the subconscious and rewriting the programs through positive and impactful statements that are slowly going to exercise a greater strength each day on that subconscious level. So I have a lot of clients that will message me, and they're like, well, I've just experienced myself not reacting to something, and I didn't actually realize that was happening until afterwards. And that's because that's on that subconscious level. So with meditation, it's all about being still, watching things that happen. But of course, you can then interlink self-hypnosis with meditation. You can, once you're in a nice relaxed state, you can begin to say a mantra over and over again to self-hypnotize, to work on that subconscious level. If you're feeling stressed, telling yourself that you're calm, you're in control, constantly over and over again for 10, 15, 20 minutes. If you don't believe it's going to work, if you're saying that to yourself for 15 minutes a day, better be sure that something is going to come of that positive. So yeah, with hypnotherapy, a lot of people don't understand the reason why they're feeling a certain way. And this could have something to do with childhood. So we use something called regression, which then sets to take that client back to a certain memory, which they don't consciously know, they've not thought about for months, weeks, years, whatever it may be. And we call that the initial sensitizing event. Once we establish that ISE, that could be the reason why this person is having these self-esteem issues, these anxieties, these feelings of inadequacy, whatever it may be. So that's the complete difference. So ultimately, if you get to a point where and I always say this, meditation is a skill. It's like jumping on a piano for the first time and expecting to play Beethoven's Fifth Symphony or whatever it may be, symphony, sorry. Meditation is a skill. It's designed for us to learn with self-development forever. So by getting to a point where we're comfortable with meditation, we can then interlink self-hypnosis and looking into that ourselves, on Google. It's very easy to do. It's very easy to pull up scripts ourselves. We can just record it on our phone, stick that in our ears and listen to that. Self-hypnosis and meditation do link in quite well, but what sets them apart, is the fact that hypnotherapy with the aid of somebody, with the aid of a therapist, can really sort of delve deep. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to be conscious. Okay, I'm self-hypnotizing. I need to do this. I need to think this. You're just going with it. You're just allowing somebody to do that for you.
Yeah, and I'd like you, I kind of answered the question that I was going to ask you next, which was, if somebody's curious about hypnosis, do you think the best place for them to start is self-hypnosis, or do you think they should go and work with a therapist straight away?
I think they should go and see a therapist, in all honesty, just down to the fact that that therapist, even if they just had one session, because I offer a free consultation with all of my clients. and that's to explain everything about hypnotherapy, what it is, how it works, find a little bit out about my client, and if hypnotherapy is right for them. And even just from the first session, I've had people that's just come for one session and they've left with enough information to go on their own journey. But it's like anything. Some people like to, I always use the example of a piano. Some people will learn piano off of YouTube. I've learned piano from YouTube, but some people prefer for somebody to sit with them for hours and hours and hours and help them practice, help them spot mistakes, help them catch things that they're doing wrong, bad habits. And that's exactly the same with hypnotherapy and being with a therapist. Is that therapist there to help you? Absolutely. Can they help you catch bad habits? Can they help you catch sort of not beneficial thoughts, for you? So yeah, I would recommend people to seek a hypnotherapist, and most hypnotherapists will offer a free consultation, whether that's face to face or on the phone, just to gain that little bit more of an insight into it.
Nice. I agree with you completely. I think people can go it alone, but it gets to a point where you need somebody there. I think you genuinely benefit so much more greatly and so much faster when you've got somebody else there to support those blind spots that maybe we're not catching for ourselves. So I definitely agree with that wholeheartedly. All right, you got any questions?
No, just basically before we kind of finalize and wrap up, is tell our listeners where they can find you.
So I'm on Instagram. It's hypno hypno.23. And then I've got my contacts on there, which is my email address. But on my Instagram, I upload weekly, a couple of videos, 3 videos a week, which just explain everything to do with the mind, how we think, how we can look at things differently. And of course, if you do want to get in contact with any questions, or you are wanting to look into hypnotherapy, I'm more than happy to sort of assist that and help you out with that.
Perfect. We'll put all of your contact details into our show notes as well, and make sure we tag you in the post so people can find you really, really easily. So I really think that people are going to really enjoy hearing this about this modality, and also just hearing the way you speak about it as well, because you put it in such a nice way that I think people can relate to, and I think it's just another door has opened for a lot of our listeners as well today. So be sure to go over to Rob's page and listen to him and reach out to him, talk to him, because who knows what else they will learn from you. It's been a pleasure to obviously have you on the show with us today.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing, the information, the knowledge you've been sharing, and like you said at the beginning, you make the subject much more interesting, more passionate, and not clinical, and that's what was going to draw people to you, for sure.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I absolutely love talking about this topic, and ultimately, if it is going to help other people, even just slightly for them to, I've never thought of this, so I'm going to definitely look into it, and that may just set them on a different trajectory, get them out of a rut that they're in, and hopefully get them to feel differently, to notice how they truly feel in this crazy world.
Nice. I think I'm having this little idea at the moment, and we'll see if our listeners want to do this. We could do a live hypnosis session, as a bonus podcast. I think they might like that.
They might. I think they definitely like that.
That's obviously if you're up for it, Rob.
100%. Yeah, all for that. That sounds great.
Awesome. Right. Thanks for obviously your time today. It's been awesome to have you. And like I said, the listeners will be able to find your details in the show notes.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.